Showing on Law Weekly today, an assessment of the present administration 1 year after. Some lawyers share their views. We also have the weekly recap of the top legal stories from the courts. And in our interview segment, we chat with the former Attorney General of Ekiti State, Olawale Fapoda. He's passionate about the administration of justice and justice sector reforms. And those are the issues of our discussion on the program. Hello and welcome. I am Shola Shoyeli. Nigerians have been assessing President Muhammadu Buhari's administration 12 months after it assumed power. I got a few lawyers to also do an assessment, especially as it relates to the justice sector. Here's what they had to say.
Looking at the general administration, I feel the government got it wrong when, from the beginning, at the point of appointment of the cabinet members. It seems, with all due respect, the president chose his cabinet squarely based on settlement of the boys, people that were loyal to him, people that worked for him, people that sponsored him, rather than going for the most competent people in this country, regardless of where they come from. And the cabinet does not inspire confidence in me at all. And I cannot see any sector, any ministry that is really performing.
Being optimistic, I believe that given a little more time, we hope that the administration will be able to find its feet, because it seems to me that we are yet to get our bearing as to the issues bedeviling the nation. When it comes to the justice system, the fight against corruption is good, but I think that the government is making too much noise about it. I am of the opinion that we fight silently, get the work done.
In the justice sector, they are trying. At least they've employed so many other judges, and so many judges are waking up, they are living up to their expectations. You come to your case, you have your case expeditiously. Like now, the Honorable Justice Buba, who you sit from morning till night and takes all trials. That if you come to the court, you'll be prepared to spend from morning till night. That's how the judges are working. That's how they should be working. And all of them, I have privilege of appearing before, at the same ratio, they are the same lane, they are working on the same page. So that's what we expect.
The focus is always on the judges, but we interact more with the registrars, with the judicial staffs, and these are the key people that hasten the judicial system, and this is where the core corruption is. So there is no way we can talk of saying that we fight about judicial system without looking downward. So because it is not, at times, everything does not start from the top. Sometimes the down too need to be checked into, but the top is the key head.
Basically, I think the present administration has been all right so far. I do not agree with some of the things that they've been doing, especially with the fuel hike and the economic mess that we are in. But I think we must understand that these things take time, and in as much as I'm willing to give them the time, I feel like they've spent so much time blaming the former administration, whereas we need people who are ready to work and move on from the past. We cannot keep dwelling in the past and make progress. So concerning the justice system, I really would only mention one thing. I'm a human rights activist and advocate, and I think the only thing that bothers me about this administration in the justice sector is the blatant disregard for human rights. I feel like the Constitution has given us parameters in Section 4, in Chapter 4 of the Constitution. We're not in the jungle. We play by a certain rule, a certain bunch of rules, which is the Constitution and every other rule or law that empowers, human rights. So I think that in as much as this dispensation is eager to curb corruption, they also must be eager to keep their commitment to the Nigerian people.
Interesting comments from our respondents, but let's move on now and bring you a recap of some of the top stories from the courtrooms.
We begin with the report that the Code of Conduct Tribunal has fixed the 15th of June for the continuation of the trial against the Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki. The chairman of the tribunal, Mr. Danladi Umar, last week Monday, accused lawyers to the Senate President of trying to delay his trial on allegations of false declaration of assets. Mr. Umar says the antics of the defense team will in no way reduce what he called the consequences of the tribunal on the accused person. The lead counsel to the defendant, Mr. Kanu Agabi, SAN, has however expressed concerns over what he called assumed prejudices by the tribunal. The chairman of the tribunal has restated his commitment to be fair to all parties in the case. The case will continue on Wednesday with the cross-examination of the first prosecution witness, Michael Wetkas. Staying in Abuja, the federal government has told the Federal High Court that the immediate past National Security Advisor, retired Colonel Sambo Dasuki, is yet to account for a large cache of sophisticated arms he imported into the country while in office. The government said it feared that the missing arms were in the hands of some unidentified persons that were sympathetic towards the former NSA's cause. The government stated this in an application filed by its lawyer, Oladipo Okpesheyi, senior advocate of Nigeria, seeking an order permitting the federal government to shield the identities of its prosecution witnesses in Dasuki's trial. The federal government is prosecuting Colonel Sambo Dasuki before the court on 4 counts of money laundering and illegal possession of firearms. The government said in its application filed on June 3, 2016, that although it had recovered some of the arms and ammunition, including cash in foreign currencies in Dasuki's Abuja home, security operatives had yet to locate a large volume of other weapons. Justice Adeni Ademola has adjourned till June the 23rd and 24th for hearing of the application. And in another federal high court in Abuja, the trial of the former Minister of Interior, Abba Moro, on charges of fraud in the recruitment exercise into the Nigerian Immigration Service has begun with the testimony of a first prosecution witness. A retired Controller General of the Nigerian Immigration Service, David Paradang, who testified as the first witness, said he was not aware of the recruitment exercise into the service, which held on March 17, 2014, until he saw an advertisement in the newspaper to that effect. Mr. Paradang also said he was not informed by the then Minister of Interior, Abba Moro, and the board of the Immigration Service. Mr. Moro is accused of defrauding over 700,000 applicants and collecting nearly 1 million naira for the recruitment test, which was so badly organized that it resulted in a deadly stampede in some centers across the country. The trial is resuming after a long break following the stepping down of the former judge, Justice Anwuli Chikere, who first heard the matter. The Kogi State Governorship Election Petitions Tribunal, also sitting in Abuja, last week Tuesday dismissed the petition of the People's Democratic Party and its candidate in the last year governorship election, Idris Wada, challenging the election of the incumbent governor, Yahaya Bello. A 3-man panel led by Justice Halima held in its judgment that the petition jointly filed by Wada, his running mate Sunday Awoni and their party, the PDP, lacked merit. The tribunal also held that the petitioners lacked the local stand-eye to challenge the nomination of Bello as the APC candidate in the election. The former governor, Wada, and others had in their petition asked the tribunal to hold that he polled the highest lawful vote in the November 21 election and the December 5, 2015 supplementary election and should be returned as the elected governor of the state. Wada contended that Bello only polled 6,885 votes in the December 5 supplementary election and could not possibly inherit the 240,857 votes polled by the late governorship candidate of the APC, Abubakar Audu. In a related development, the tribunal also dismissed the petition filed by Mr. John Falike, the running mate to the late Abubakar Audu, on the grounds that he lacks the locus to challenge the election, having not been a candidate in it. And we round off at the Federal High Court in Lagos, where Justice Rita Ofili-Ajumogobia last week Monday granted bail in the sum of 500,000 naira to a former Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, Raymond Omashe, who was convicted of contract scam. The judge had on May 20, 2016 convicted Omashe of awarding contracts above the threshold stipulated by the Bureau of Public Procurement while he was the Director General of NIMASA. He was sentenced to 5 years imprisonment. 3 days after the judgment, Mr. Omashe, through his lawyer, approached the Court of Appeal, Lagos Division, describing the judgment as unreasonable and seeking to overturn it. He then asked Justice Ofili-Ajumogobia to release him on bail on self-recognition, pending the hearing and determination of his appeal. The judge granted him bail after considering that his children would be deprived of parental care, which he had been providing for 3 of them in the absence of their mother, who he said was in the United Kingdom looking after one of their children who had a severe medical condition.